Welcome back, beautiful souls, to another Soul Saturday session. I'm Mel, your intuitive coach, and today we're diving into a mind-bending topic, timeline jumping and reality shifting. So if you feel like you are living in a reality other than the one you imagined, you're not going crazy. Chances are you are tapping into the multi-dimensional nature that is available to all of us. So grab your pen and paper, grab your coffee or tea, and cozy on in because we are going to get deep. So what is a timeline? Now, I'm not talking about your planner or even the past. I'm talking about something much deeper. The vibrational paths that stem from the choices, the emotions, and the frequencies that you are currently putting out into the world. So imagine a multiverse of yous, Soul Tribe. The you that chose courage, the you that chose comfort, perhaps the you that chose conflict. All of these versions exist. However, the one that you live in, that depends on your frequency. And here's the thing, you can shift your timeline not by waiting, but by choosing. And that's where we get caught up sometimes. We wait for things to change when we forget that we are the creators of our own reality. Now, I'm talking about the things that are within our control. Now, of course, there are certain things that are so outside of our control, even though we worry about them anyway, that you have to take a look at how you respond to those energies. But the things that are within your control, such as, maybe relationship dynamics or the people you surround yourself with, the job that you have, the house that you live in, the pets that you have, those things are choices that you can create for yourself. Now, a book that explains this concept wonderfully, if this is a topic that does interest you, is actually a fiction novel that I came across a few years back. And the book is called The Midnight Library. And it's where a woman is living in her current reality and she doesn't love it. She doesn't love where she's at. She's depressed. She wants to check out. And she decides to check out. She ends up going to the Midnight Library, which I kind of look at as the Akashic Records. And she's able to jump into new lives, new realities, based on different choices that she has chose to maybe marry someone new or to divorce or to take that, that job or go back to school. And it's a really incredible concept of what we are talking about here today. So for it being a fiction novel, I feel like there's a lot of great takeaways from that book. So again, choosing timelines. Now, reality shifting versus escapism is significant here. So I want to spend some time talking about that topic, Soul Tribe, because let's be real. Some people try to shift and run. And I say this with love because I've done it too. I wanted to manifest a new reality so bad that I bypassed the version of me that really wanted to be held, that wanted to be heard, that wanted to be seen. I've done this, so I get it. I've been there as well. So personal examples. There were parts of my old reality where I used substances. I used alcohol to numb my nervous system. After long days of pretending like everything was okay or just wanting to fit in or whatever it may be, I silence the self-doubt. I silence the voices thinking, okay, well, I don't have to deal with it. And this is one way of escapism. So we do that. Another thing is toxic relationships. I stayed in relationships that drained me because I feared starting over, even though I knew at times that my reality was already shifting. That's called resistance. When we know intuitively that there's a new path, but we are resisting it because we want something so bad, we get stuck in that. I confused drama for depth, thinking emotional chaos meant connection, and that's not the case. Overgiving and fixing others has also been part of my escapism and my journey. So I escaped in trying to heal others before I was willing to heal and work on my own self. I played the role of rescuer to avoid sitting with my own emptiness. And that had stemmed from a very early on age where I had played the role of caregiver for my own mother. So hustling and overworking, that's another example, which I've also escaped into. I filled a lot of hours with work. I tied my worth to productivity, escaping my inner child's need to play and have fun. Sometimes I can be a perfectionism. I say that I'm a recovering control freak and perfectionist. So those are all forms of escapism. Spiritually bypassing, and this is a big one that a lot of people do at times, is really cling to positive thinking only. Now, is it great to have that abundant mindset? 100%. But when we are clinging so hard to positive thinking that we bypass the pain, that's when it becomes escapism. I thought raising my vibration meant ignoring the parts of me that sometimes were grieving. Like if I just wear a smile, if I wear a happy face, everything's going to look fine on the outside. Now, these are all examples of my own timelines, and even escaping through social media. We've all probably done it where we scroll or we binge watch on Netflix, or this can even be, food or shopping. Some nights I just scroll or catch myself getting sucked into a Netflix show. And of course, there's nothing wrong with that from time to time, Soul Tribe. So I'm not pointing a finger at anybody who enjoys doing that, because I myself do from time to time. But also it's important to make space for breath work and yoga and meditation and things that are healthy for our minds, things that can help us grow and heal and evolve. And sometimes we escape into fantasies of what could be instead of anchoring what is. And I've even found that, especially in the very beginning, when I first found tarot on YouTube, thanks to Spirit, I ended up diving into all of the readers, right? I wanted to soak up all of the information. And even in my early 20s, when I was reopened back up to my spiritual gifts, I ended up really diving into the work and almost obsessing about learning and growing and evolving. And again, everything in moderation. We can become obsessive even when it comes to our healing path or our spiritual journey. Now, I'm not proud of those chapters that I was in, but I honor them. They taught me how to come home to myself. This isn't about shame, okay? It's not about shame at all. It's about showing you a path that is possible when we finally stop running. So if you feel like you are stuck in a repeat cycle of escapism, know that there's a way out. I share this not because I'm stuck there, but because I found ways out. I found that you can choose different realities. But here's what I've learned. Shifting isn't skipping the journey. It's becoming the journey. It's not a fake it till you make it. It's feel it, face it, then be it. And I want to talk about this because we often hear, fake it till you make it. But there's a difference between that dynamic and visualization. And I want to clarify the two. Fake it till you make it is basically surface level acting. I have even had that myself from time to time. If I fake it till I make it, if I just keep forging forward, everything is eventually going to be fine, right? But we have to feel it. We have to face it. We have to heal it. Often based in performance or even external appearance. That can be the fake it till you make it vibe as well. It comes from a place of lack or disbelief. Trying to force a reality before truly embodying it. And that's where we may get hung up. Energetically, it can feel like we're wearing a mask or pretending. Perhaps you've heard of imposter syndrome. The nervous system might feel unsafe because there's a disconnect somewhere. That's why it's so important to do the work. That's why I love somatic healing and breath work and exercises that really help me get in tune with my own intuition, because we have to not only say and do those things, we actually have to feel and believe them. That's the difference. So for example, you say, I am rich and successful, while your subconscious screams, no, you're not. Right? You've all done it before. I have. That resistance creates energetic friction. That's why it's important to get to the root of the issue, because faking it till you make it, it doesn't often work, because yeah, we may say I'm rich and successful, but if you have a deep rooted belief that you're not, or it's never going to happen, or you're self-doubting yourself, that dominant emotion will take over, and that will be the frequency in which you manifest from. So visualization. Visualization is a sacred embodiment of an energy that feels rooted in, well, for one, quantum physics, which is what we're talking about today, but also neuroplasticity. You're not pretending, you are activating the version of you that already exists in this field. It's done from a place of alignment and trust, not force, right? Alignment and trust, not force. Engages your imagination, your emotions, and your somatic awareness to energetically match the reality that you desire. Do you see the difference there? It helps you rewire your brain. It helps you soothe your nervous system to energetically match and attract the reality that you desire. So again, it helps you embody all of those energies, the feels, the vision, the imagination, the intuition. And I often say when the mind and the heart connect, right? When that emotional space and the mental space can give each other a big old hug, that's when magic happens. So this is what I want you to do, Soul Tribe. This is part of your soul work assignment. I want you to visualize your future, waking up in a peaceful dream home. Maybe that is a reality that you are wanting. You feel the warmth of the sun, you smell the coffee, you hear the birds. Really activate your senses. I feel like we don't give enough credit to our five senses, including our sixth sense of intuition. But it's important to drop into the body and feel these things, feel the magic, because your body believes that it's real. Remember, sometimes the body doesn't know like the difference between a bee sting and a bomb, because it is us, it's our conditioning, our trauma, our responses that react. So it starts with acting like it already is here. Now, the bottom line is faking it till you make it is an outside energy. Visualization is an internal energy. So signs that you are shifting. You wake up one day and your favorite food doesn't taste right anymore, or you suddenly crave something like you never have before. That's a frequency shift, even though it could be small, it could be minor. You think of someone and they call. Time feels slippery. Either it's speeding up or it's completely warping. Now, that has been something that has been happening to me like crazy. So for example, the other day I was out on my paddleboard in the middle of the lake, and there's an area that I typically traverse through. There's two different directions. You can go this area that's kind of goes around this little bend, and then there's another area, but I'm in the middle of the lake and I'm laying on my back and looking up at the sky and just doing some reflecting. And when I go to sit up and I start paddling, I probably paddle for a good 5 minutes before I realize that this isn't the right way. This is not the direction. Even though I have taken that path a million times, there was a huge shift that had happened there. Another example, a couple weeks back, I was in Sedona, and Sedona is known for the vortexes anyway, but I completely time warped there, where I recall getting up to the vortex at 3:01 p.m. and I had sat there and I had meditated for quite some time and just kind of soaked in all of the senses, again really activating the ear chakras, listening and smelling and taking in the sights as well. And when I came to it, I looked at my phone to look at the time, and it was 3:02. No way was it a 60-second time frame that I had just spent. So a lot of you may be having those same experiences. Or like the other day, I had put a spice back on the spice rack, and when I went to go turn around, that spice was right in front of me. I'm like, nah, I just put this away, right? So we are constantly shifting timelines, and I feel like 2025, it's even more obvious than it ever has been before. I mean, maybe some of you have even heard of the Mandela effect, and that may be playing out where you remember things differently than maybe they were. That is an example. You may even be having vivid dreams where you live in an alternative life. I often dream of this island, not Epstein, but an island that I've never been to here on this earthly plane as of yet. But in my dream state, I know it like the back of my hand. I know the outside, I know the people, I know the area. So it certainly could be past life, but I also feel like it's an area that I will experience in this lifetime yet before I cross. So dreams could give you insight into those alternate realities as well, especially when they feel really real and you wake up just knowing like, wow, that dream felt so real. And you may even jump into new timelines where people that you have connected with or known for years just fade, or they no longer resonate with who you are. And that happened to me as I decided a few years back to give up drinking. I noticed that there were multiple people that exited my life, and including in that timeline, I was in a relationship as well. And even though we both had decided not to drink, our timelines were still shifting, and we decided to part ways because we were no longer aligned with the energies that brought us together. So you may notice that your realities are constantly shifting and changing. But again, sometimes we stay attached to that comfort or that safety or that security instead of fully jumping. And another thing that I found is we constantly look for proof. We look for evidence before we jump, and it's the opposite. We have to fully embody that choice, and that's when we are going to start to see the evidence. So it feels like that's been a little bit backwards from time to time. So how can we intentionally shift our timeline? Here are 6 powerful methods. So this is where it gets juicy, and you may want to take notes. Shifting our dominant frequency is number 1. This is about becoming aware of your energetic set point. Are you living in fear? Are you living in scarcity, resentment, love, hope, or peace? And if you're not sure, I ask you, Soul Tribe, to become the observer of your reality, meaning you are not enmeshed in it. It's not something that you're able to be that fly on the wall when it comes to your own world, but explore through the eyes of non-judgment and just be in your, emotions and how does it feel? Am I fear-based? Am I constantly looking for something to go wrong, or am I looking for things to go right? And so knowing what that dominant frequency is going to help you immensely. Let's say you want to shift into a version of you that owns your own voice, stands in confidence, and magnetizes clients, right? The first step, speak your truth. Even when your voice shakes, start choosing what she would choose. Because remember, there's a courageous, brave version of yourself. And sometimes we shy back. Sometimes we dim our light because of fears. Because we fear, what if we speak up and we are admonished, we are judged, we are criticized? That's what you are becoming. It's what you want to explore more of, but it's going to require that leap of faith. Visualizing and embodiment is number 2, which we talked about visualization, the piece. Don't just imagine a new reality, feel it. Close your eyes. Visualize the version of you who's already there. And I want you to focus on this. This is why I love vision boards as well. And some of you may be familiar with The Secret. This really dives into the embodiment piece of it and the visualization piece. But how does she walk, that version of you, he or she? But we'll just use she for this context. How does she walk? How does she breathe? How does she move? And then I want you to embody her and really feel it on a deep, deep level. If you want to have that car, and I'm just throwing out some material things, but you can put anything in this place, okay? Let's say you want a new Jeep. How does that Jeep look for you? How do you feel while you are behind that steering wheel driving it? What are the emotions that are dominant, that are coming through? Really embody that, because it's your future self that is showing up at this time. This isn't pretending, right? It's not that fake it till you make it, but it's aligning. And then number 3, decide and detach. We get stuck on this one. I oftentimes feel like detachment is one of the most difficult steps. You choose the timeline and then let go of controlling how it unfolds. A few years ago, I decided I was no longer available for those unhealthy relationships, and I said it out loud. I remember waking up and just knowing that this wasn't going to be my future. Now, I stayed in that dynamic for a few more months because sometimes it feels like the mind needs, or the body needs to catch up at times, or vice versa. But I said it out loud. Within the next few months, I definitely seen that people were shifting out of my life, and I was choosing new timelines by making some big choices, big life choices, and it hurt, but it cleared space. So decide, declare, and then surrender. Surrender, because sometimes we oscillate between, is the grass greener over here? And we want to know before we take the jump. That's that evidence that I mentioned. Like, is it going to be good if I end this relationship? Well, let me tell you this, soul tribe, if you're already contemplating if something is better for you, or if you are leaping into a different version of a reality, a part of you is not happy with where you're at. And that's what I want you to remember. There's a version of you that is saying, okay, wait a second. If I felt great right now, if I felt safe, if I felt happy, if I felt abundant, I wouldn't be wanting to shift my timeline. So I'm not talking if this happens on occasion, and maybe sometimes you dream of someone of the past, or sometimes you have a thought of what could have been. I'm talking about if this is your dominant emotion that runs your life of, okay, I want to go on the other side here, but I'm fearing leaping into it because what if it's worse, right? But what if it's better? Number 4, use rituals. This is one of my favorites. I talk about rituals often. Mirror work, journaling, affirmations. So mirror work, to me, I recommend this all the time to my clients because it's so incredibly powerful. Not only looking into the eyes of another being, but looking into the mirror at our own self. There's something profound, something transformational when we begin to do that and start talking to yourself in a loving, kind way, because it almost makes you face your own self. That's why I love the mirror part, because you have to look at yourself and then say things like, I'm proud of who you are becoming, because we are our biggest cheerleaders. You can journal, all right? I love journaling. So maybe a journal prompt could be, in the timeline where I'm fully expressed, what does my daily life look like? And really write your story out. That's why spelling is like spells, right? Because we have the ability to write a new chapter in our lives, sometimes to close the old book and completely start a new one. And then affirmations, I am a big fan of. Some people do those affirmations, but the fake it till you make it piece is underlying that energy. And that's why affirmations alone don't work. So if you take those other pieces into context and take a look and see if there's any outdated beliefs or root issues that are causing you from fully believing, fully feeling, then that's something you want to address, because those affirmations can be very powerful. So I align with the version of me who is free, clear, abundant, and whole. That may be a wonderful addition to add to your spiritual toolbox. Now, number 5, altered states of consciousness. Now, this again, it kind of goes into rituals, because I incorporate breath work and nature and meditation, things of that nature, into my daily rituals. And you already know that I'm a fan of nature. I talk often about being outside, being outdoors, spending time, on the water or in the water, near it or by it, trees, plants, and animals, because nature awakens something deep within my soul. So I ask that you find ways to help you alter your states of consciousness. Another favorite is TRE, tension and trauma releasing exercises, because when I tremor, I feel like my body is releasing the old code. And for those of you who are stuck maybe in some subconscious or even unconscious conditioning or patterns, working with somatic therapy or these types of states of consciousness can be so therapeutic and healing. And then of course, breath work to me is next level. That's something I've recently started to really dive into. And that's when really powerful insights come in. And I'm not talking about just your regular box breath work of deep breathing. I'm talking really activating that nervous system. So if you want to explore, I definitely recommend tuning into or connecting with a breathwork practitioner, because it can be life-changing. My first deep, intense session, I actually had a Kundalini activation occur. So look into those altered states of consciousness. Now, part 5. Obstacles and anchors that keep us stuck. So I talked about a few of them. Now, if you say you want change, but you are still talking about your old identity, we've all known that person who says, I don't love this relationship, it's so toxic, but they're not doing anything to change it, right? Or I'm stuck in this dead end job, I hate this, but they're not making any choices to get out of that job, or they're still connecting to that old version of themselves. You may be accepting breadcrumbs from people that you've outgrown. That can be us grappling with an old version of ourselves, because again, we want that piece of love and we want that piece of connection, no matter how we get it, even if it's breadcrumbs. But you may be required, as you jump into this new timeline, to let go of those energies altogether, or let go of those people. You're afraid that success means losing people. Now, that's why there's a thing called fear of success, because we can work our way to the top, whatever success means for you, but chances are there will be people who could be jealous or may not love that you're not vibing at the same level as them. And so there can be a fear of loss, a fear of, what if I'm all alone? What if I leave this dynamic and I'm over here, sitting in a a space of sorrow soup, right? And I feel like we can all get stuck because we don't want to feel lonely. And I feel like loneliness is one of the biggest challenges that keep us in our timeline that doesn't feel conducive to where we want to be. Or maybe your inner voice says, who am I to deserve that? Right? Who am I? Or, maybe I shouldn't get that because I got this, right? Or I already have enough. I feel like we tend to talk ourselves out of things. Remember that mind can build or the mind can destroy. So take a look and journal, really reflect and ask yourself, are there any energetic anchors that are holding me back from living my best life? Because when that voice shows up, I want you to meet him or her with compassion. But I don't want to let her drive anymore. I always say in my videos, fear to me is like a beautiful 1968 cherry red Camaro, one of my favorites, sitting in the driveway. And when we let fear or these energetic anchors, because technically that's what fear is an energetic anchor. It's like we give fear permission to get in the driver's seat. And if that's the case, we're going to be sitting in that driveway forever. We have to say, fear, okay, I know that you're part of the human experience. You help keep me safe at stoplights, right? You help keep me on track and keep me alert of things that I should be alert of so I don't become dead, right? So it's important that fear comes along for the ride, but at the same time, your true soul self should be sitting in that driver's seat because that's when you're truly able to timeline jump. So the old version of yourself, it doesn't have to exist, right? We're choosing the new one here, right now. Part 6, integrating, integrating timeline jumps. This is your wisdom, right? Once you've shifted, once you've made that choice, once you've executed, once you've told yourself that you felt it, you are fully embodying this new version of yourself in this new reality, protect it. Fiercely protect it. Don't go looking for proof, right? There's that evidential piece that we get caught up in because we want proof. Even my Aquarian moon, right, wants proof sometimes. So proof comes after the embodiment, after the jump. Keep showing up as him or her. Keep choosing that version of yourself, even when it scares you. Anchor with rituals, nature, nourishment, and document these shifts for yourself. Journal synchronicities. Some of you, I'm sure you've had days where everything just flows in beautiful alignment. You are getting smacked with signs on the billboard. The song comes on the radio. You have someone call you and you're just thinking about them. Like it feels like everything is synchronistically taking place in divine timing, and it certainly is. Let your nervous system catch up. And when people fade out or question your glow, soul tribe, bless them. Bless them. They're not on this leg of your timeline. And you have to be okay with that. This Soul Saturday, I invite you to stop waiting for your life to begin. To start being the version of you who already lives in the life that you desire. Your next timeline is not a place. It's a vibration, and it's already calling to you. Thank you for spending time with me today. Hopefully you got some nuggets of information, Soul Tribe. I hope this was helpful on your journey. I know it's easier said than done. Trust me, I've sat in multiple timelines as I've given you examples. But what I do know is we are the alchemists. We are the shaper of our reality. So again, if there's any version of you that doesn't love this reality that you are living in, change it. You got this. I believe in you, Soul Tribe. Thank you so much for tuning in and being here today. Lots of love.